Hey everybody, in this video I will show you the setup that I use to tackle the level 4 version of the auto defense battle at Infra-Station. Now before I get into my setup, I wanted to show you the enemy intel because this fight has quite a bit going on, mainly because there are 4 different types of boss monsters. The Bone Crusher Executioner, which buffs itself with extra defense below 50% HP, the Bone Crusher Pyromancer, who teleports along the lane whenever it gets attacked, the Axe Armor Beast, which is a AoE buffer of nearby allies to speed and defense, and the Heavy Ram, which disables combat facilities after locking onto them and performing a ground slam. So, now that we know what we're facing, I'll start with lane 1. At the very first bend in lane 1, where this forms into a circle, I started by placing a Surge Tower, backed by an Electric Pylon, backed by another Surge Tower. This little setup is going to be our add clear engine for lane 1. It's going to kill all of the low health to medium health targets that come through here. We won't have to worry about them progressing through this circle. What we will have to worry about progressing through this circle is the Axe Armor Beast. This is where it spawns, and as we saw in the refugee camp, it is best dealt with by beam towers. So I decided to let it gain a little ground here, for it to fall back into these beam towers right here and essentially be torched to death. I have one on either side of the lanes after the circle ends right here. So that's the setup for lane 1. I'll go back over it again briefly. Just Surge Tower, Electric Pylon, Surge Tower, and then back here, 2 beam towers on either side of the lane to deal with the Armor Beast. Cool. Now moving on to the second lane. Head on over here. I started by heading up to this lane and placing an electric pylon shortly after the enemies spawn, and then behind this electric pylon I placed a surge tower, backed myself up to this wall right here, end of this concrete wall, and placed a surge tower, lined it up mostly with this side as well, and basically did the same thing on both sides here. So these should look identical to each other, or mostly identical. The positioning isn't exactly right, but who cares? All that's important is that there is a space between this surge tower and this surge tower. Why is that? It's because the heavy rams spawn on this lane, and they will come up and aggro this surge tower, perform their AoE slam, and then disable it. That's why I have this guy back here. If he was up here and these guys were in a straight line, both of them would get disabled, and that would be pretty bad. So, spaced them out. If you're looking at it from this perspective, it looks like they're in a square. Pretty good setup here. This way nothing will get through. Behind this, I have a high explosive grenade tower. You get this from the Wuling AIC track. Let me just pull it up right here. Boom, there it is. It's the first weapon upgrade in Wuling. Pretty good, pretty strong. Just a supplemental DPS for add clear. If anything does happen to slip through. It might happen when this surge tower goes down. This is just here as kind of a safety net. If you don't have the high explosive grenade tower, you might be able to replace this with the surge tower, but I recommend the high explosive grenade tower. So, that's the setup for lanes 2 and 3. Pretty simple. Moving on, we have this little alcove lane. Again, we've seen it before. Surge Tower, Electric Pylon, Surge Tower. I have this one kind of starting at the bend in the lane and then going forwards from there, just giving the enemies a little bit of space to spawn in and move. Very simple add clear engine here. Nothing to spend a lot of time on. Behind that, I have a sentry tower, kind of at just like the bottom of this little ramp here. I don't really know what to call this position, but I have a sentry tower. This is because Bone Crusher Executioners will spawn from this lane, and Bone Crusher Pyromancers will spawn on that lane and teleport and make their way down here. Like the high explosive grenade tower over there, this is supplementary DPS, but this is more single target focused DPS as opposed to add clear. So, that's everything in the setup. Now that we've seen it, I'm going to let the battle play out, and I'll give commentary during the battle and talk to you again after, just to let y'all know what's going on. So yeah. We can see that these are the enemies that spawn up here. Just a couple of bugs. Our add clear engine gonna handle it just fine. Everything's dead already. We'll move over here. We can already see that things are just getting destroyed. I'm not even there. There we are. Adds are going to spawn on that lane. There's the Bone Crusher Executioner guy. There's his Frenzy mode. And he doesn't really get too far, taking damage from the Sentry Tower and the Search Towers. And now we have our first Pyromancer of the stage, along with the Heavy Ram. Pyromancer teleported instead. The Heavy Ram did its AoE right there and disabled that tower. Should come up in a second. But as you saw, we didn't have any issues killing the Heavy Ram or the adds that came after it. They kind of just fell into the meat grinder and got killed. So are these Pyromancers. They're getting dealt with pretty easily. We have a wave of basic adds coming from this side, so it's not just the Bone Crusher Executioner guys. There are small health targets that come from here as well, hence the need for the add clear engine. Over on that side, more things are spawning. A couple things, probably just the bugs. And there you have it. That is it. We got through with 100, 100, 100 on all 3 cores. And that's the level 4 auto defense battle for... where are we? For Infra-Station. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys out. If you are struggling with any of the other auto battles in the game, please let me know that in the comments, and I will try to get to them as quick as I can. And yeah, hope you all have a great day.